Hello folks, Reverend Crystal Cox here. This video is for my Mandela Effect Facebook pages. If you've been following it for all these years, you're probably like, where the heck has she been, right? Well, I heard about the Mandela Effect in 2016, and it became pretty obvious to me that I was projecting the reality that I was living. So I was an anti-corruption blogger, still have probably like 4,000 or 5,000 blogs. At one point, I had like 6,000 domain names and, just really exposing corruption and really into it. And I believe that I was meant to do that, and I trust that. However, in 2016, when a very close friend of mine, my partner at the time, had asked me if I'd heard of the Mandela Effect. And I looked it up, and now I call it the quantum effect or a, reality shift. But I was like, oh my goodness, right? Whoa. So I stopped everything I was doing, sort of. I decided that the most important thing in that moment was to perfect myself, to go after every trigger, every program. And I'd been my whole life, into new age information, channeled information, being the best version of me I can, being my highest and best self, had already dedicated my life to raising the consciousness of Mother Earth and her people. I'd already started my church, Bringing Back Goddess Church. It's also called Universal Church of Life. And all about raising the consciousness of Mother Earth. And I didn't realize that the quantum shift was literal and physical until 2016. And when I realized that, I was like, well, I'm not reporting on corruption. At this point, I'm creating corruption by focusing on it. And I'm certainly creating it more and more in my own life by focusing on it. So I stopped. And I had already let go of the majority of it, but I really took a turn there in the way I viewed everything. And I stopped to the best of my ability, and it's taken a lot to keep heading that direction and perfecting that. But of going, well, kind of forgot what I was saying there, but basically that no person, no building, no job, no anything, it doesn't matter how close it is to you. Anything outside of you is outside of you. You're projecting it. You are the receiver. And you can only tune into certain frequencies, right? You can't hear the country station, say Country 104, if you're listening to if you're on Rock 94, right? You literally have to be tuned in to a certain frequency to experience that version of life. And it's literal. And we change our frequencies based on our thoughts, based on our knowing, based on our beliefs. Okay? So this video, the Mandela Effect, now what? And I'm going to do a lot of them. In 2016, I had done videos on all sorts of things for years. But I stopped. I didn't do videos really about the Mandela Effect. It was new. I mean, it wasn't new. It was new to me, but it was new. There was a lot of people getting going on it, right? It was a huge shift of an influx of a whole bunch of people being aware of what they were calling the Mandela Effect, which is not a misremember. And anyone out there that's trying to disempower you, don't let them. And anyone that tries to debunk the Mandela Effect is massive gaslighting, basically telling you you're not believing what you're believing. And I want to talk a lot about that. But and going, well, Mandela Effect, now what? I'm going to do some videos about back then first. So I kind of stopped posting on these sites because I went into focusing on me. And I've lived in a vehicle since just after that. And I definitely knew I shifted. I'm someone who knows, I watch the sun. I've taken pictures of the sun. I've always been into photos. I've always been into looking right at the sun and sun gazing. I know the sun was yellow. And so, but I didn't exactly know the day it shifted. I didn't know it shifted. And when my friends asking about the Mandela Effect stuff, I didn't know that I was in a world where there was a white sun. And I'd been taking pictures, like, so I don't know exactly what day it shifted, but it did. Okay, that one, the heart, and then the Sagittarius arm that we were on, and we moved thousands of light years to the Orion arm. Those are 3 big ones, okay? I did Facebook pages on the King James Bible changes. I followed every change. I followed every person. I followed every video. Because back in 2016, it was very interesting, okay? So the people that were talking about it were talking about timeline shifts and how to shift timelines and quantum, right? And then it got more and more about the trivia. People are like, oh, this is really cool. This has changed. This song has changed. This brand name's changed. And then they started making it, and it's more like a game or misremembering, which also, if you've seen my video on the guy that wanted me to do the supernatural show, because I am a Mandela effect expert, if you can be one, I'm one, and how that went. I'll do another video on that, because they were very focused on fear-based and on CERN and on the trivia. And I'm like, look, the Mandela effect, which I call the quantum effect, because it's not just about Nelson Mandela, is the most important thing you'll ever know, you'll ever have discovered, you'll ever even come across ever. Nothing else matters. And I don't care if you call it the Mandela effect or what you call it. Nothing else matters, because it puts you in the power seat. It puts you in the seat of the creator, creating, drawing, giving the energy to your own life, okay? Once you know something, one of them, and there's thousands of them. One for sure, it's as big as your heart or the sun, that you've shifted to another frickin' reality. You're changed forever. And you could be like, oh, well, and some people tell me, okay, it happened to me, but now what? Okay. Well, to me, I was like, well, now what? Well, in 2016, I'm like, well, there's only one thing. Once you know, is to stop. Just stop. Stop judging people. Stop jobs you hate. Stop every freaking thing everywhere. Just stop. Because your thoughts, your belief, your knowing is creating your reality. Shut up. Sit down, meditate, go within. Follow every trigger, every program, know who you are, get grounded in that, and then you will project the reality you want. You don't like someone in your life, you're projecting that version of them, okay? Based on your own thoughts and belief and what you're calling to you. Always focused on, oh, look what they're doing. Oh, I don't like what they're doing. Oh, then you're always outside of yourself. Instead of calling stuff to you, you're judging other people and you're projecting stuff onto them. It's a very beautiful Ford Bronco over there. The turquoise, anyway, I digress. Oh, Ford, don't even get me started, right? The Ford logo, but there's tons of these changes. Okay, so backing up a little bit. So people used to talk about in the beginning, and I was watching it every day, like every few hours, I go and see different people, different articles. Diane Canfield, there was a lot of people. We're in a reality now where they're all, every channel, every expert on everything has to deal with their own stuff, or they can't separate it anymore. Channels used to be. And a lot of these people were. I don't know, I haven't seen Sandra Walter's stuff in a long time, but she was one of them. There was quite a few at the time, and they were talking about timelines, right? And fourth density and fifth density, and I keep wanting to say divinity, fifth divinity. Yeah, that makes more sense. Ascension, and like Bashar, a plank second, like every plank of a second, we move realities based on our thoughts, and that we've always done this, okay? Which makes sense. My mother used to lose things tons when I was a kid, and I'll talk about that in another video. But it's funny, when I say I'm going to talk about something, I should just go ahead and talk about it, because I lose what I was mainly talking about. But anyway, then I stopped. I just stopped looking at videos because it got overwhelmed. Okay, so instead of the videos that were, say, 3 minutes to 15 minutes, or 10 minutes or whatever, kind of giving you some really good information, it became people doing like 2-hour long videos, and they were talking about, like Once Upon a Timeline, there's the Eagle guy or whatever. And some of them were doing a lot of religious stuff and a lot of fear-based, but they were also like any sort of body changes or animal changes new. There was so much of it. They started doing these long shows, and so then it all kind of got blurred together. Okay. Every new song, every new trivia. And it was being, the carnival version of the Mandela effect was taking over YouTube. And I was like, you know what? And I started to write a book about it, because I was real clear on what was going on metaphysically, because spirit was showing me. But I had to stop that candy-coated carnival world of the Mandela effect to go within. And I've been doing that for 5 years. And I've been doing that living in a car. Some of it I didn't have a vehicle, but I've been homeless for like 7 years, and focusing on me. What are my beliefs? What is it that's projecting and creating my reality, and clearing out my ancestral line? Yes, to create the reality I want, but also I'm like the 0 point. So I'm where all the timelines are merging and collapsing, right? And I'm just sitting here in it, right? Going down every belief, every anxiety, every post-traumatic stress, every trigger, and dissolving it, and sitting in it, and dissolving in it. And Dark Night of the Soul 1, no. Like, I've had like 100 of them, right? Old hat. I'm old hat at that. And so, the people didn't exist anymore, like to watch them on YouTube, because like I said, it got saturated with trivia and with too much stuff. And then you had people coming out. Teal Swan is not empowering people. I know so many people are like, well, I work with Teal Swan. They pay her a bunch of money. They work with her. I don't know if she's in Portland or wherever. I had listened to some of her stuff back when, right? But her videos on the Mandela effect are absolutely wrong. Can you say one person's right, one person's wrong? Yeah. Teal Swan is abso-fucking-lutely wrong on the Mandela effect, okay? She is gaslighting millions of people. She has millions of followers, right? Anyone that takes away your power, okay? You cannot debunk the Mandela effect, okay? All they can do is tell you how stupid you are, and you don't believe what you believe, and you don't know what you know. So these 1,000 Mandela effects that you know are different in this other reality, well, no, that's just your memory. I was shocked to hear her version, and who knows, it could be another shift since I've seen her videos the last time. But I stopped anything to do with her, just totally grossed out by her version of the Mandela effect, and basically chewing people out and chastising people and acting like people are stupid and it's not real, and it's not, when you can't fucking tell me the sun wasn't yellow. Okay. And that my heart was on the left. Okay. Because I had profound experiences. I have a photographic memory. Okay. I know the maps we were on the Sagittarius arm. Do I know that any of that was real? No. Because, except for the sun, like I can't see inside of my body. It was the X-ray machine, right? It was, the people who wrote the maps, the Sagittarius arm. I mean, that's all really actually in a simulation. It could be part of the shift. But I'm looking up at the sun. I mean, I'm somewhere else. The star systems are different, right? Like Bragg's vinegar, always Bragg's vinegar. Things shifting. Yeah, you can say that they're, oh, well, those are just, like song lyrics and different trivia things. They're actually different realities. Okay? And so I was so fascinated by the Bible changes, because I knew the Lion and the Lamb, right? And I didn't study all the Bible, but I studied, I did Bible studies with my grandma, and when I was in high school, and I listened to Bible story tapes, and I had some that I knew pretty profound. And the Lion and the Lamb, and of course there's residue everywhere, right? So it's so supernatural and so bizarre that, and then to have people, like my mom, or I knew other really religious people were like, well, it's always been the wolf and the lamb. And I'm like, do, right? So you landed in a different, like a foreign land, but it's real similar. And it really weirds people out, right? So I wanted to follow every change of the Bible. because I thought it was fascinating. So wineskins, you know, Lion and the Lamb, the things like, why? Why did it change from lamb to wolf? Like, what's the difference? What does lamb mean in the Bible? What does wolf mean? Okay, what does this represent? And I was doing that from a neutral place. And my church is all denomination. And I was doing it from a place of spiritual and of psychic and of neutrality, really. And oh my gosh, right? Tons of people joined. The site got really big really fast. It was a King James Bible Mandela Effect. I think it's still out there. I left it. I abandoned it. Because once you start a group, you know, you have to remove everybody to shut the group. And I did the best I could. But there was so much hate on that site, so much fear-based hate, right? And blaming the devil and just creepy, fucked up stuff. I shut the site down. Okay. I followed some other people that were doing the Bible changes for a while. But I came to an understanding of what it was for me in my channelings for myself. And I just focused on me because I know that it doesn't matter what these videos, what I do, what I say, it changes, right? It's just going to shift and change into another reality. It doesn't matter. Like, I was just like, oh, there's all this stuff I want to write. Okay, I'll shift into reality where it's already written. But with the Bible stuff, was so profound to me. And when you talk to people about it, they're like, oh yeah, well, the Bible changes, right? So it's not about the Bible changing or getting a new version. As you know the Mandela Effect, you know that the Bible could have been in someone's family for 80 years and it supernaturally changed. Okay. There was a shift in realities, shift in timelines, a whole nother version of life, same avatar, seemingly. What could be more important than realizing that? What could be more important than knowing you project your reality and perfecting that? Okay, you can chase your tail, you can chase any job, you can chase anything you want, any direction, but there's nothing that will ever be more important than knowing that you create and project reality. Okay, I'll talk more about the teal swan stuff later, but just to kind of wrap that up is that if anyone is taking your power away, they're not to be listened to, okay? My ministry is about the power of one. It's about you. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your beliefs is. It's about teaching you to be the highest and best version of you. And the people that I have counseled on Mandela Effect counseling, what quantum leap, timeline shifting counseling, is about helping people to know who they are, who you are, what you really want, what you really like, what you really prefer and enjoy, and to identify all the beliefs and knowings and everything connected with that to create and project the reality that you want to be living. That's what I do in Mandela Effect counseling and spiritual advising. And I don't call it, like I said, the Mandela Effect, but so many people do. That's what I'm going to refer to it. So, but I wanted to understand why each shift. And so in the beginning, I dove into all of it. So dove into the King James Bible, right? Who wrote it? The Queen Elizabeth stuff at the beginning. Who was who and what was what? And I don't remember it all now, but it was just so interesting to me and I really dove in. But so much hate on that site that I shut it down. More hate than any site I've ever had, right? A site about the Bible. And people were really scared. This is their sacred text and it's supernaturally changed. And they immediately go to the devil, to the dark, to evil that changed it, right? And not anything proactive. And tying that in with people like Teal Swan, they're acting like, okay, she's acting like it didn't even happen. So some people are acting like it happened because of dark, evil things. And then some are saying it didn't even happen. And if anyone's not empowering you to be your highest and best self and create the reality you want, don't listen to them. Okay, they're gaslighting you, telling you didn't see it, it didn't happen. No, you don't need a guru, you don't need a channel. You are a channel, you know everything. I guide people to know their themselves, okay? And you don't have to study a bunch of stuff or know a bunch of, know regular. You have to know, which I just did a video on the difference between knowing and belief. You have to know, which is more like a rendering, an assimilation. You're changing your frequency into who you really are, and that shifts you into a different reality. So the Bible changes were so profound to me. How in the world, right? How? What? The lion and the lamb is now the wolf and the lamb, and there's hundreds and now thousands of changes, and I followed every one of them for quite a while, and I posted on every one of them, and people, like I said, people got really hateful and freaked out. My posting was about showing, I wanted to just kind of keep a record of the changes, but then there's just too many, right? It's like a sandcastle. It just kind of goes through your hands, right? And like I said, I walked away from the site. But Spirit channeled, I channeled for myself. I don't need anyone to believe anything I say. I'm talking about my personal experience here. What Spirit told me is that the Bible changes was the breaking of a spell. So a lot was removed from the Bible. So the Bible was channeled information and put together. Obviously, Jesus wasn't a Christian. Jesus came here as an example, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk a bunch about that. But the Bible was changed and used to manipulate humanity. And we know that, okay? A lot of us do. Okay, so Spirit told me that what people think of as the Mandela effect changes was a spell being lifted. So the lion and the lamb, for example, the way that was worded was some sort of a spell to keep society at a certain level and keep people a certain way. So the more that they said it, the more that they saw it. And so these Bible changes were breaking spells on humanity. So call it dark magic, call it rules of the game, call it whatever you want. It was breaking that spell. And so I came to an understanding of the Bible changes based on love and based on my connection with Spirit, with the entity that I felt was God, was Jesus. I prayed in Jesus' name during my childhood. My parents weren't religious till later. My mom was, but I was already out of the house. My grandmother studied the Bible and stuff with me, and that's how I knew certain things, like the lion and the lamb and stuff. And she died when I was 18, and I studied with her to study with her. Not because I was being a groupie about Jehovah's Witnesses or the Bible or whatever. And I was never baptized in there. Anyway, let's not even get started on that. But I didn't buy into the fear, and I didn't want to interact with people because there was so much of a frenzy of fear. But for me, the understanding was that I know my God, and I trust my God, and I am God. I am Source. I am Source experiencing life here on earth. I am gathering information. I am gathering knowing. I am gathering. We are perfecting our consciousness because our consciousness is what we take with us. Right? So as we're all of these choice points, so say you had like 100 different things, like you're going to marry this person, you had this job, you're going to go live here, you had, let's just say 100, even though we know we have thousands over a lifetime, 100 choice points, and the things you didn't choose, a version of you went on and experienced all those, okay? We've had all those experiences, and we do that for Source to experience life, incarnate. We'll leave that there. And now into the new earth energy, we've been merging these versions of us, merging these timelines into the highest and best version of us. And this consciousness that's me without this body, that I would be if I was in a tree, if I was in a ball, if I was a dog or a pony or a butterfly, I would know me to be me by my own consciousness. And that's what we take with us, and that's what we're perfecting. And so I trust divinity, I trust myself, and I let go of any fear or anything weird around it. I wanted to study more. It became overwhelming. The Mandela effect trivia and fear became overwhelming. So I ignored it, and I just stopped. I went into studying quantum physics, quantum timelines, ancient information on it. I channeled stuff for myself. I went into every thought and every trigger and just stopped posting about the Mandela effect because there was so much fear and so much confusion. Now I'm in a world where, well, I do spiritual healing, I do Mandela effect consulting, I do energy healing, and I ask people the Mandela effect. I got my top 3, which is the heart, the sun, and, well, I like mirror, mirror on the wall, and there's a few things. The Bernstein Bears is a big one for a lot of people. It's not for me, but I do say it sometimes. And so it's very interesting what I'm seeing now. So when I used to ask this, like when I'd first learned about it, you'd be like, oh yeah, the heart was on the left, the sun, they'd have the same things from it's like they're from old Earth too. I'm from old Earth, they're from old Earth, okay. But it's not like that now, right? Because now we've done so much merging over the last 5 years that they'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I remember the heart's in the center. Okay, yeah, the sun's yellow. They'll have a mixture because they're their best self. So they're merging timelines into who they are, into the version of them that they are now, their highest and best self. And so they take pieces from different lifetimes. So, which is so interesting because I remember I still have those 2 separate old Earth, new Earth kind of things. Like I remember it one way, I remember it another way. A lot of people, it's so fascinating now that, in my healing work, when I ask these people that they have bits and pieces from different timelines, right? So they might remember the lion and the lamb, but then they remember the sun different, they remember the heart. And some people are so confused by the sun question. And first of all, they're like, why would you ask what color the sun is? That's obvious. But then they're like, well, sometimes it's white and sometimes it's yellow. I'm like, is the sun white or is the sun yellow? Okay, I don't know if the sun's white or the sun's yellow, right? I mean, it was certainly profound to me in 2016 when I was like, oh my God, the sun is white. In 2018, I spent quite a few months in Boca Raton, Florida, and I was driving around, with the people that I was staying with there. I'm like, so that's the sunset? Wasn't familiar with the area. And they're like, yep, that's sunset. And I'm like, and what's that? They're like, well, that's sunset. And I'm like, you do know that's 2 suns, right? They're like, never noticed that before. And it happens so much over there. I even had an experience where I seen people in the sky and I hid behind a tree. Like I was in a dome. I seen shadow people. I've had a lot of profound experiences, and I haven't really done videos on stuff to do with the Mandela effect because I was just watching the fuckery, the chaos, the meltdowns, the people that were writing books on it then. People would contact me because I was in the top of the search engines for Mandela effect timeline shifts right away because that's what I do, an investigative blogger. But then I let it just kind of fade away because I was like, whoa, none of this chaos matters and I don't want to get in it. It's about me. It's about my anxieties. It's about my mother, my father, my lineage, my confuckery, my DNA. It's about me, the receiver, projecting the reality I want. And I can't do that until I get rid of every single anxiety and program and trigger, okay? And so that's what I've been working on. You about done yet? No. Yes. I'm at a spot now where I do want to talk about the Mandela effect stuff again, and only in a way that empowers you. And I may or may not leave the comments open on my sites because I have a lot of people that love me, but I also have a lot of haters. In my investigative blogging case, I had a lot of people who didn't like me exposing them for doing very bad things. Let's just leave it at that. So I don't oftentimes leave comments available on YouTube and Google and all that. And it doesn't matter because people are like, oh, well, if you comment on Google, Google gives you more rating, blah, 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 blah. YouTube cut off my sites, banned my sites. I was demonetized a long time before it was popular, right? They demonetized me for exposing corruption, and their ad base didn't want that. It'd be like, hey, we want to be corrupt. Anyway, I digress. So, the Bible changes were so profound to me because, like I said, I have a photographic memory, and so I didn't want to be like, oh, this is really cool, this changed, and be like, wow. I wanted to know why that specific word. What's the deal? So I dove into all of it, and like I said, the why the King James Version, right? And so I saw, who wrote it, who was commissioned and how Queen Elizabeth or Queen, all of this stuff connected with the King James Bible. Studied all of that. Studied quantum physics, studied the double blind split, just studied everything about everything. And I had already spent a lifetime of studying, but this was another level of it to try to understand why this and not this, right? But basically, they're all just experiences. And where we're at right now in 2021, things have been playing out different than one might have expected, right? This great awakening that's happening. And which it is awakening a lot of people, but there's still quite a few people who are just so, I don't know, I want to use the word brainwashed, gullible. They just go along with the crowd. They just, and with the Mandela effect, things have shifted into where, that's just, yeah, I've heard of that. Like it's a trivia thing. There's nothing more important than the Mandela effect. If you know you moved from a world that had a yellow sun to a world that had a white sun, even that alone, it is so massively profound that nothing is bigger. Once you know you shifted realities, to me, it all became about, well, how did I do it? And how do I do it again? And how do I shift into the reality I want? Okay, well, you can only go a certain level because it's really like a game, and it probably is a game. Our higher self set up for source to experience reality. Okay, but you can perfect your thought. You can perfect what you're projecting, your beliefs, your knowing, but you can only go to a certain ceiling of that board game. Let's say that realm until mass consciousness raises like at least 51%. So you can go to that next level. Like we can't fly or we can't necessarily teleport. There are yogis and stuff that can shift, bilocate, and then there's astral travel, lucid dreaming, and there's a lot of stuff you can continue to work on. But until mass consciousness reaches a certain level on certain things, we don't get to go to, say, the next board game, the next realm. And it's literal, which also suggests that we're in a simulation, in a game. So we wait for the numbskulls to catch up. Was that judging? Yes. What is my belief? Oh my God. Okay. But it's really hard to be like, oh, well, let's see, where are you going to be in 5 years? Well, let's do this job. Well, let's do that job. Oh, trust the medical system. Trust the what? Okay. When it's sand falling through your hands, all right, there's nothing. Once you've seen supernatural things that don't fit in, I flashed on that show Island again. Okay. You see, your face in the sky, for example. It's kind of a top tier, sort of a what the fuck, right? Once you see the sun is a different color and that you're thousands of light years from, these are all knowledge-based, like textbook stuff, but, heart in a different location, the circle that was around the color spot of the eyes, the things that I knew, the shift was so profound. You're kind of like, do. You shifted into another reality. And then you go, oh, well, I got to go to the grocery store. Oh, I got to think about this job. Oh, I got to think about college. Oh, I got to think about the kids' school. Oh, I got to think about... No. You don't got to do anything but perfect your thought. Perfect your belief. Move into knowing. Shift into the timeline you want, where that stuff's already taken care of. Your preference, your joy. It seems like some are losing sight of just how profound the Mandela effect is, okay? It's not a trivia game. It's not this actor's name changed and this song changed and this brand name changed. They did, but they signify a shift in reality. Like the Ford logo is a big fucking deal, okay? That little swirly... When you look at an old Model T Ford and it has that on it, that is extremely profound. Have a photographic memory. Did not exist, okay? Now, will I ever move into reality where I don't remember all that? Sure. We move into the new heavens and the new earth and we don't remember, like, when you shift, you don't remember people. Like they say, when you move into the new heaven and the new earth, you don't mourn the people who didn't make it to heaven. You know, like that's like a biblical teaching or whatever. But you literally shift into a different memory. And so understanding the dynamics of what people call the Mandela effect is the most important thing for you to know, work on, experience, learn, study every single day. Not jobs, not health, not anything in your life, because you can literally shift, turn the dial and shift to the frequency, shift your biofield to the frequency of that version of life that has that already in it. Anyway, so I'll talk about some different aspects of this, but I just want to say hello again to those of you on my Mandela Facebook pages. I'm going to start posting again regularly and talking about this stuff. I'm not going to talk about fear-based stuff. I'm not going to... CERN's probably involved, but CERN might have even created us. I mean, just because we feel we have density, like my hand doesn't go through my chest, doesn't mean I'm not a hologram. Okay, there's a lot of great information on there about the density of holograms. But I know that because I know that when I dream, like say if I'm driving in my dream, or if I'm, picking up something, my glasses, or if I'm wearing a hat in my dream, I'm not a ghost, right? It doesn't fall through. I don't walk through walls in my dreams. I can hold on to things. I can eat things. I'm dense. I have density in my dream state. So if I'm a hologram there, dreams should be just, part memory and part movie, and you're just kind of projecting and just kind of watching them, right? Like a screen. No, we're actually astral traveling. We have density in our dreams. So how do you know the dream's not the real life and this isn't the real life? I have a hell of a lot going on more in my dreams than I do in this reality. Like as far as busy. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Okay? So thank you for being on these sites. Email me, reverendcrystalcox@gmail.com, if you'd like to know more information or to work with me in Mandela Effect Consulting. My church is Bringing Back Goddess Church, also known as Universal Church of Light. And bbgoddesschurch@gmail.com is my PayPal if you'd like to donate to our all-denomination church. And I help to raise the consciousness of Mother Earth and her people wherever I can. I know that I project my reality, and I know that I project versions of people that are in my reality. However, I still had to walk through every program and every trigger, all the stuff in the DNA, all of the operating system that my mother put on me, what already is in my DNA, what was my operating system, my programs. I had to work through those. And in essence, also to create a cure, right? So when people go through that, you pick up on the frequency of other people that have already been through it. So I'm going to post more on the Mandela effect. I had, what was that woman, Kat? I followed everybody. I mean, oh my gosh, right? And now it's just out of control. So, it's just, like Once Upon a Timeline, love her stuff. But her shows are so long, and then you got to kind of go through it. And some of the, but she's a really, really intelligent woman. And, like a lifetime of, I don't know, but she just, all of the different body parts, so each different bones in the finger, all the different changes following along, and different species changes. And it's still happening here. There's different flowers, there's different types of whales, there's different shifts. I shifted last week. I had quite a few things that shifted. And it's so bizarre. It's so weird feeling. At first in 2016, I was creeped out and almost angry and what? I knew that positive thoughts create positive reality, and be positive and you'll experience positive. I didn't know it was a literal, physical, quantum shift to a whole nother board game, a whole nother realm, a whole nother reality that looked kind of similar to where you wouldn't necessarily know. And I'd always been doing that, and everybody always does that. But to see that shift so huge, and then more and more people just kept coming, and now there's tons of people to the Mandela effect, tons of people gaslighting them, telling them they didn't experience it. There's so much confuckery, which is chaos, and there's out there, whether it's politics, doesn't matter. It's just blowing up everywhere. There's never been a time in the history of the realms like this. We have passed all of the markers. We are creating our own reality moment to moment. There's nothing more important than you sitting back and going, okay, what do I believe? Not this show, not that guru, not this book, not any of this. What do I feel? What do I know to be true for me? And we're going to talk a lot more about it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for still being on these Mandela Effect sites all these years. And let's go to the next level. Everything that I say is meant to empower you. Okay, not meant for you to bow at my feet, okay, or like whatever Teal Swan's got going on. I mean, I believe we're all God, but when you have someone like her who helps so many people, who guides them, who they pay a ton of money to her to coach them, whatever, and she's telling them how stupid they are and how they're not, the Mandela effect's not really a thing, totally gaslighting you. Either you experienced it and you know that truth for you, or you don't. Okay? It's all about you. Okay? You're projecting reality. It's not about your favorite channel, not about your favorite guru. Okay? If they have not done their own work, they're going to be biased now. You're a channel. Ask Spirit. Trust what comes to you. Trust your own self. All the people that I used to follow, different, and I never took everything everybody said as like that. This is just absolute truth. I took what felt right for me and applied it where I felt that I wanted to apply it, right? But now they can't do it anymore. So they used to be able to just channel somebody and bring in all this information without necessarily doing the work. Okay, kind of like the contractor who finishes everyone else's house but never his own. Now they can't. They literally cannot tell you something in a video without jading it with their own personal beliefs or their own stuff that they haven't gone through their dark night of the souls. They haven't chased down every trigger and every program and dealt with their own stuff, and it's coming through in all the channeling now, and they can't separate it. We're in New Earth energy. They literally have to face their own stuff. So discern, know your own truth, trust yourself above anyone else. And when I say trust yourself, you trust yourself and you do what you know is best for you, but other people's reaction you can't necessarily control. That's theirs. You can only be true to you and know your 100% belief of any given situation. And that's where we're at now. And with everything that's happening in politics and health and all kinds of things, it's happening in every direction. And it's really important to meditate, to just lay there and listen to the rain, listen to a fan, listen to whatever, and get outside of your head and outside of everyone else's version of what the truth is. There's no truth. It's all subjective perspective. Okay? It's the truth. The sun is yellow. It's the truth. The sun is white. And have you seen those ones where there's like 6s and 9s and these different sticks, the meme? We look at it from this way and it looks like one thing, and this way it looks about one thing. We're perfecting our lens of perception, okay? Based on what we prefer, what we want, okay? Whoever you buy into, you're creating more of a reality they want. Find out what you want, who you are and what you know. And I will see you soon on these Mandela Effect sites. I love you.